day everyone, welcome to another episode of Think Out Loud, Minds in the Mind, where we talk about life, school, and whatever thought comes to mind, providing a platform for ideas. I'm your host, your speaker, your friend, Mark Rebollido. With that out of the way, let's start talking. So, it's not something that is new to us. It's not something that is oblivious to a lot of people, but it is an important thing to tackle, especially with my trend in this channel, in my podcast, about the well-being of students, of being a student, especially as a student as well. We need to realize the best course of action to protect ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. So it's no secret, and it's not something that is weird that many of us has felt confused, sad, or depressed at one point in our lives. It's not something that is out of the blue or is not normal. It is actually a very common thing that happens when it comes to being a teen. You tend to experience these episodes of insecurity, anxieties, and all of those stuff that is really unsettling once you're in middle school, especially, or in high school. Now, this is a very sad thing because it's, instead of being an exception, instead of being something that is weird, it is a natural phenomena that occurs in kids. Again, back to the Erikson Psychosocial development, and in that part of your age, in between the identity and role confusion, you're confused on who you are. You feel that you need to conform. You feel like you don't know who you are, and it's really sad because we think it is thoughts. We start to think abstract, and then we try to figure out who we are as people, and it's very difficult if you're going through it because you don't know where to start. Nobody knows where to start. You could know where you should have started when you're maybe like 25, 30, but we don't know where to start. We're just walking around confused what to do with our lives. And that's a very sad thing, If we go back to the psychosocial development chart, in that identity versus role confusion, we try to see where we fit in. Between the ages of 13 to 21, we try to fit in. We try to see what we can do in this world, what we can add to it, or what's our role in it. And that's really difficult. And again, if we look at another development chart, it is the Piaget's cognitive development theory, and it is in its fourth stage. There's only 4 stages in this, but in this fourth stage, which is named as the formal operational stages, this is from the ages of 12 above. So this is when we think abstractly. First, we see objects. After that, we see concrete thoughts of objects. Next, we can observe them better, and then we get to think abstractly. I'll link down below for a good example of that. But it's really something that we need to see, because these two things, that when we think abstractly, when we think we want to have a role in this world, and we think theoretically, this entails with it a social, emotional, and psychological distress, because again, you're gonna be hit with this abstract thinking. You start thinking these thoughts. It's not something that one morning you get to think. No, it starts with small steps of abstract thinking, and then you get to the ages of somewhere between 18 or somewhere between 14 to 15, 14 to above, you start thinking abstractly more and more, and then you get confused because, again, you're not trying to question life, but you're trying to figure out what life is. You've just been alive for like 14, 15 years, and then you're gonna be confused, no doubt. And whether or not you know the answer, it's gonna be difficult nonetheless. And this is not something that is just an opinion of mine. Actually, according to the gov.uk, if you go down below to the link below, and I have already cited this in my Why Do I Care So Much episode 4. I linked that below as well. According to the gov.uk, the Mental Health Foundation of the United Kingdom, 20% of children can be diagnosed with a mental illness each year, and 50% of all mental illness are established by age 14. So, if you see someone who is diagnosed with depression, diagnosed with anxiety, diagnosed with different things, it's likely that they establish that illness when they're 14 or somewhere between that ages, because that is when you experience much distress. That is the reason why many people say that middle school sucks, because all of you are just trying to figure out who you are, what you should do. That's a very difficult task to do, especially as a child. We don't have the enough tools and experience to do that. One of my ideologies in life is you can be smarter than an elderly, but you can never be more experienced than an elderly, because again, even if you're intelligent, you don't know the experience yet, you don't know the struggles yet. You can plan all you want, but you're not gonna be able to succeed if you don't listen to experience. So let's see. That's according to the gov.uk, 20% of all children can be diagnosed with a mental illness each year. And according to the CDC, this is in America, 3.2% of all children, that is 1.9 million children, between the ages of 3 to 17 are diagnosed with depression. This is a study from 2018, and I'll link down below. So, with all of this definition, with all of these things, it's really like something that you get discouraged, because you're gonna think, oh, this is the life we're living. You're gonna be sad. And this is not something to discourage anyone. This is something to show that not only does people experience this, but because a lot of people experience this, there is a solution. Not a clear and cut solution. Not something that is very straightforward solution, but a solution nonetheless. So, first let's tackle, for those who haven't experienced, for those who haven't experienced, it was a spiral, like gray, numb, and you're in your own world. And this is not something coming from me. This is something that is coming from a testimonial site. If you go to the site below, and according to the psychiatric definition of depression or major depressive disorder, you feel a loss of motivation. You feel differ in your appetite, mostly losing your appetite, and you tend to find yourself oversleeping or not getting enough sleep. And also you feel a loss of energy and you have difficulty focusing. When people have so much things in their heads and they're thinking that they cannot speak to anyone, feel like their mouths are taped, it's really difficult to focus, because you're gonna think this is worthless. And also, it's very difficult to focus because you have a lot of things in your head. Jim Quick, one of the leading experts, he said one of the greatest things and best way to learn is to first forget. And he said, not only forget what you know, but most effectively forget what's around you. Because if you keep thinking of what's around you, you're gonna be conscious of it. You're gonna focus on it, and your attention is divided. Now, that is a sad thing to happen, because of course the repercussion of those things is really detrimental. And so now we tackle the psychiatric definition, or the psychiatric definition or explanation of how depression or sadness, not even depression, just general sadness, intense sadness feel like. And one of the testimonial definition that I read is, it feels like they're in their own world, unheard, no one is with them. And this is something that I added. They question life, causing racing thoughts. And again, this is very distressful. That's why, again, 50% of all mental illness are established by age 14 because of this overwhelming thoughts in your head. Get numb to emotion, or the very least you feel like you don't know them and you feel anxious. One of the thing that entails depression or vice versa is anxiety. If you have a lot of anxiety, it's possible that you develop depression, or if you're depressed, you most likely have anxiety. So, and this is not just something that, oh, when I become a teen, or that's why when I was a teen I felt sadness, or I felt depressed. There's other reasons. It is not just development. So maybe it's because of a loss of a loved one. Maybe because you have a chronic illness, or someone you love, someone you know that has a chronic illness, or you're in a toxic relationship. Not only romantically, but friends, families, any connections that is toxic that you try to keep alive. This will probably cause extreme sadness and might lead to depression. But so we heard some testimonials and psychiatric explanation of how depression feels like, but it's something that we tend to dismiss when we see testimonials, not even for depression but other things. See the testimonials because we're not trusting too much, some of us. So it is just something that is very difficult, and I just want to share a story with you. I just want to share my story and my classmates' story. So I remember seeing my classmates. I was 6th and 7th grade. They were experiencing some depression. I have friends that experienced depression, and to see them like that is very hurtful to me because, again, nobody wants another person to see suffer. And in grade 6, I remember one friend of mine just very numb to emotions already. That's why it's very numb to emotions already. That's why it is very sad, because I remember talking to her and I said, "No, this life is sad." And then she said, "Yeah, I know. I just hope this would end." I said, "No, I might feel sad, but I'm not gonna go that far." And I encouraged her to have a positive outlook on life. And right now, I believe that she adopted my mentality before, to just stay strong. And it is very difficult. Maybe you're experiencing SAD, or seasonal afflicted depression, because maybe it's not a depression all the way, but a depression nonetheless. A depression that's happened in season. And this can cause a lot of things, OCD. That you feel, have you lost control in everything, that's why you need to control something in your life. Obsessive compulsive disorder, and this is not just something that you do something repetitively. Yes, it is one definition, but it can also be repetition of thinking, repetition of actions, repetition of doing stuff or doing routines again and again. So you feel that you're in control of something, and or maybe it can cause a physical manifestation of it is body pain. Sometimes the brain do not tackle mental illness for you to not think about it. It makes part of your body ache. So you focus on that ache instead of the mental illness. But however, if you tackle the fruits and not the roots, then the root is just gonna bring more fruits of pain, body pain. And maybe it's not a body pain, it's a complicated pain or something because you feel like you're in a great position. Wrong life. That is another emotional manifestation. You're in a great position. You have a great status in your school, in your workplace, and you feel like you're living the wrong life. And especially you're gonna feel sad because there is an increase of depression in our time. Especially it is, and can you guess what it is? Social media. But the increase of social media, the growth of media, the comparison of their fake lives, of their highlighted lives, to our mediocre, quote unquote, mediocre lives. And their life is not real, their manufactured life, and we try to compare ourselves because that's what children do. That's how you develop. You compare your competency to others. That's how you develop competence. feeling of competence. And there was a study made, link down below. There was a study made that when researchers took children from 1991 to children from 1992 and compared them to children from 2001 and 2002, the 2001-2002 children are more self-harming compared to the folks 10 years older than them. And according to the CDC, there was a increase in depression in children from 9% to 15%, and then there was a increase in self-harm in children from 3 to 17 years old from 12% to more than 14%, especially in COVID. In this time of COVID, even adults are getting pulled into depression. There was a research go down below. There was a research that says that the adults, 45% of the adults, so almost the majority, 45% of adults are experiencing depression because of the loss of jobs. And that is not something that is mocked. That is not something that we should take lightly, because mental health is serious. Depression is serious because, again, our minds is so great, so powerful. We need to take care of it. We need to take care of it because with great power comes great responsibility. With the great power of thinking, we have a great responsibility to maintain that thing, to keep thinking, keep our minds healthy. And so, just a solution that I saw that, and it is not me, but a research that I saw that, and this very great solution said by Jordan Peterson and other psychologists, is to have a healthy lifestyle. It's not rocket science to think that if you don't have a healthy lifestyle, you don't have a healthy mind. So again, first and foremost, get a psychiatrist or an advisor. An advisor such as a pastor, a guidance, or a parent, or be close to your parents, because those people know what to do. Those people went through this stuff and they know how this thing goes. And especially get a psychiatrist because they are trained into this sort of topic. And severe depression can be debilitating. It's not something that be taken seriously. And as children, we're not experts on anything yet, especially emotions. Even some adults or even the elderly, not expert. And this is just something to say that as children, you are not alone. No, you are not alone. Even the adults and elderly are experiencing this thing. So we all need help. All need fixing. So explore your thoughts and emotions. That's why you need a psychiatrist for this, because again, sometimes it's very difficult to go back to emotions, memories, doubts, trauma, especially trauma. Never downplay trauma, whatever trauma it is. Because one can be a firefighter, one can be an army. You might say, well, just the firefighter just faced fire. But the soldier faced life or death. Both are trauma, and trauma should not be downplayed. And so, again, you need to reflect alone or in a quiet place. Get a hold of your emotions. You can control anything besides how you react to things. And there's one other thing that I love and that I really got inspired by. Jim Quick said, "You're a thermostat, not a thermometer." So how you react to things is how you affect the world. If humans didn't think of building a house, then because they didn't react to the cold weather, then they'd be freezing. If you didn't react negatively to touching hot water, you'd be touching hot water left and right. Or when you touch hot water, you won't react negatively, and then you will be burned. But you can affect that environment. You can change that environment because you are a thermostat, not a thermometer. And one proper thing to do is, again, have a healthy lifestyle. Diet, hydration, sleep, and exercise. This is something that is said by a Harvard student, link down below, and NCBI, the National Center for Biotechnical Information. So, it is said by biologists, biotechnicians, that you need a healthy lifestyle. So that's just something that is very important. So I hope this helps you, and this is the end of the video. You can take anything with you, and I hope this will help you. And go down below, share your thoughts, share your comments, and like and subscribe when you want. And that's all. This is Mark Rebollido for Think Out Loud, signing out.